Three criminals inside a lonely roadside diner believed they were untouchable. They laughed loudly, blocking the exit, and harassing a frightened waitress who was clearly just trying to survive another long shift. What they failed to notice was the quiet man sitting in the far booth, or the massive German shepherd resting calmly beneath the table, watching everything. When one of the men grabbed the waitress, the situation crossed an invisible line. The man in the booth didn't shout or threaten. He simply stood up. Liam Brown was a Navy SEAL on forced leave, passing through a rain-soaked logging town called Oak Haven. Years of combat had carved discipline into every movement he made. Beside him was Titan, his German shepherd, trained not just as a companion but as a protector. The diner, called the Rusty Spoon, smelled of old coffee and grease, and the rain outside beat against the windows like a warning. The waitress, Cassidy Cass Vance, tried to keep her composure as Rylan Vane and his two cronies entered. Everyone in town knew the Vane name. Rylan was reckless and cruel, living in the shadow of his older brother Julian, the man who truly owned Oak Haven. Rylan mocked Cass, blocked her movements and demanded money she didn't owe. When she resisted, his tone turned dark. Liam watched silently, measuring the distance, the angles, the exits. Titan growled low under the table. When Rylan grabbed Cass's arm and threatened to drag her outside, Liam intervened. His voice was calm, almost bored, but it carried authority. He told Rylan to let her go. The response was laughter. What followed happened fast. One attacker charged and was dropped in seconds. Another pulled a knife and ended up screaming on the floor with a shattered wrist. Rylan tried to fight, then begged. Liam forced him to apologize to Cass before throwing all three men into the rain-soaked mud outside the diner. Liam paid for the damage, nodded to Cass, and left without another word. But as he stepped into the storm, he didn't know the confrontation had just ignited a war. The town hadn't been saved, it had been challenged. And Oak Haven would not forgive easily. Liam rounded the corner of the diner and stopped cold. His truck sat crippled in the parking lot, tires slashed, engine sabotaged. It wasn't random vandalism. It was deliberate. A message. Titan sniffed the air, growling softly. They were stranded. Across town, Julian Vane listened as his brother ranted through broken teeth and a fractured arm. Unlike Rylan, Julian was quiet, calculating, and terrifying. He didn't yell. He made phone calls. By nightfall, the corrupt sheriff had been ordered to keep Liam trapped in Oak Haven. With nowhere else to go, Liam checked into a decaying roadside motel. He secured the room like a combat zone. Hours later, Cass arrived soaked from the rain, carrying food and a warning. She told him the truth. Julian owned the mill, the sheriff, the bank, everything. Rylan was just bait. Julian was the trap. That night the first attack came. Men tried to break into Liam's room silently. They failed. Titan struck first, slamming into an intruder with terrifying force. In seconds the attackers were broken, terrified, and fleeing. Liam sent them back with a warning, tell Julian he missed. At dawn, Liam gathered intelligence. He watched the lumber mill and realized it was a front for illegal weapons trafficking. This wasn't just a criminal town, it was part of a larger pipeline. He contacted his commanding officer, but was ordered to disengage. Liam refused, not as a SEAL but as a man who couldn't walk away. Meanwhile, Cass was cornered again. Julian used the bank to threaten her home, her future, her life. She realized there was no escaping him by staying quiet. That night, Liam infiltrated the mill. He documented the weapons, then sabotaged the operation. Massive logs crashed down, destroying crates of illegal firearms in a fire disguised as an accident. Julian watched his empire burn, powerless. Enraged, Julian hired mercenaries and issued a bounty, not just for Liam but for Cass. She was taken from the diner at gunpoint. From a ridge above town, Liam saw it happen. He didn't hesitate. The hunt began. The chase through the rain-soaked mountain roads was brutal. Liam rammed the kidnapper's SUV, forcing it toward a canyon edge. Bullets shattered glass. Metal screamed. At the final turn, the vehicle skidded, balanced for one terrible moment, then tipped toward the void. Cass was trapped inside. Liam jumped. He smashed through the windshield, grabbed her, and pulled her free seconds before the SUV plunged into the fog below. Titan neutralized the remaining mercenary with savage precision. Sirens echoed in the distance, forcing Liam, Cass, and Titan into the forest. Julian escalated again. He deployed professional trackers with dogs. The forest became a battlefield. Liam set traps, slowed their pursuit, and led them to a narrow cliff path. In the firefight that followed, Titan was wounded protecting Cass. Liam killed the mercenary leader with a single shot, breaking their momentum. They escaped to an abandoned ranger station. Liam decided to stop running. He would destroy Julian's money, the source of his power. Cass refused to hide. Instead, she rallied locals, quietly evacuating families near Julian's estate. Liam struck the Velvet Lounge, Julian's secret gambling hub. He cut the power, cleared civilians, terrified the guards, and burned millions in dirty cash. He left without stealing a dollar. The message was unmistakable. Julian was finished. Desperate and cornered, Julian hijacked the town's emergency broadcast system. He demanded Liam come to his estate or he would start killing hostages. Liam came. Titan infiltrated through underground tunnels, cutting power. Liam breached the gates openly. Gunfire echoed through marble halls. Julian shot Liam, shattering his shoulder, and prepared to execute him. That's when Titan struck. The German Shepherd tore Julian's gun hand apart, saving Liam's life. Cass arrived moments later, begging Liam not to cross the final line. Sirens closed in. Federal agents stormed the mansion. Julian Vane was arrested. By sunrise, Oak Haven was free. Federal helicopters landed on Julian's lawn. His empire collapsed under evidence, witnesses, and burned money. Commander Sterling arrived to extract Liam, offering him a way out, if he disappeared immediately. Cass watched as the town began to breathe again. The diner reopened. The sheriff was gone. The mill was seized. Before leaving, Liam gave Cass a bag of unburned cash, enough to pay her debts and start over. In return, she gave him a simple bracelet, a symbol of guidance and gratitude. Liam left without ceremony. Titan limped beside him, proud and unbroken. Oak Haven would remember the storm, and the man who walked through it with a dog at his side.